I think I've been thinking about this since you said it, and also just sort of in general, like the idea of like when femme becomes a catch-all for just like any expression of femininity. Like I feel like I've definitely heard it described by like, or heard it used by a lot of like younger queer folks to describe just being like, well, I'm not like femme, but I'm not like butch, and they're just sort of like as like adjectives like described in their presentation, and like but I've definitely like known people on a whole different spectrum of people whose like femme means like either like it means like certain degrees to different people, and like I don't know, I think that like that kind of like somehow fits into your idea, or like this discussion of like a definition or like a something about, you know what I mean? I don't know, but I'm not gonna like, I just wonder about it. I don't know.
Also the assumption that if you wear like girly clothes, you automatically are only femme. Like, I remember once a group of friends were having a boys' night. They were like drinking beer and like, I don't know, building something. It was like drinking beer and building a bookshelf or something.
It was the couch.
Yes, it was a couch. And and I was like, oh, I'd love to go to boys' night. And someone was and like one person was like, I'm actually really uncomfortable with Sarah coming to boys' night because she's femme. And I was like, but that doesn't mean I can't be a boy.
Exactly. That's so true.
Like, I just want to have some beer and build a couch. Like, why does like the fact that I wear a dress like pretty often mean that like I can't have beer and build a couch? Like,
I don't see how those correlate really. Yeah, no, I had a really similar experience. My first and second years, I hung out with like, you know, some rough, tough, tumblish kind of, sorry, to borrow a phrase, kind of, you know, dykes who like saw themselves like super masculine, and like I was the girl who hung out with them, and it was fine. Like there were perks to being the girl. I liked, you know, like I didn't necessarily mind being the girl, and that like my door always got held open, and like I know femmes have different feelings on chivalry or like whether or not it's dead. Personally, I don't think chivalry is dead.
I like it when people do shit for me.
I love it when people do shit for me. And pay for things. And compliment my clothes and hair. Because I take a lot of time doing them. Like, how would I think everyone likes those things, though, you know? Like, I don't think it's a specifically feminine thing to be cheap. Or to be cheap or lazy, you know? So, but, I mean, it is also nice when people do it on account of the fact, you know, that there is historical precedence for that sort of activity. But like the examples of negative, like the ways that like our culture takes butch and femme and makes them into definitions of their own, like I'm gonna give some examples. So in Perry's article, A Strap-On Party for the People, they describe femmes as the hostesses are femme lesbians who are obviously well-versed in the art of deploying their feminine wiles. They wear slinky dresses and skirts. They wear slinky dresses and skirts in pink, purple, red, and black. They strut around in high heels. They wear makeup. They not only look like girls, but act like them, too. She acknowledges that people tend to perceive her as being innocent and sweet. So like I feel like that article is about gay people at a gay strap-on fucking party. Like I don't know what gayer event you're gonna go to. Like I'm going to a strap-on orgy today. You know, like and yet like there's this idea of femmes wearing skirts. They're wearing high heels. You know, they're wearing makeup, so they're constructed in like an aesthetic way. You know, which is different from other genders. And then, you know, like they not just look like girls, but they act like girls. So like it's because we are like straight people that we are femmes. You know. And because we're innocent and sweet. I don't think anybody's called me innocent or sweet.
I love using the fact that I'm femme to like get things. Like I'll go to a gas station, there'll be an old like Russian man sitting at the counter, and I'll be like, "Hi, oh look, it's a chocolate. I love chocolate. Oh,
I do that sometimes.
Oh, it's I love chocolate. Oh, thank you. Oh, it's so nice." And I'll just giggle, and then and like not like. One time out of like 1 in 5 times it'll be like, "Oh, sweetie, you can have it." And it's just like, yes.
I feel like my feminine wiles work so much better on like butch ladies anyway, you know? Like I feel like why waste my time like trying to get things from men when I could just easily get things from women? You don't want to get that from me? Helix?
When you ask any like which woman to help you move, they're like, yeah.
Oh my god,
Or I feel like one of my favorite times about being a femme and getting things is I had a fridge that I needed moved into a second floor dorm room, and my friend and I were like, oh, there's this butch woman that we know, and so she's walking by, and we're like, hey, we have a fridge, and I don't know if I think I can move it, and of course she moves it up the stairs, and I get to watch. I feel like it's mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
Because like as much as like and I feel like
gotta work out.
I mean, yeah, and I'm sure she loved it. I mean, like the next later that year, she moved by hand about 9 bags of soil for me. Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I feel like it is important that like butch and femme have a history together, you know, like, but it's not that we should. I think it's important also that we don't construct our identities around one another. We can recognize that history while like exploring whether or not we have futures that will continue being linked, you know? But like another one, in Boots of Leather, Slippers of Gold, The History of the Lesbian Community, by Madeline Davis, she says that all language for talking about butches and femmes is inadequate. And I think that that's like a really important kind of thing. Got some reiterating going on there. Which brings me to the point of femmes who fuck other femmes. Question mark. I found that a community or a queer politic often like suppresses like the idea of femmes ever having sex with other femmes. I recently did an interview with a couple of femmes, and one of the questions was, do you know any femmes who have sex with other femmes? And her answer was no. You know, like it was like, no, I don't know. And one of like her ideas, which you'll be able to see in this very episode, you might have watched it already, depending on how things go, is blooper reel. Anyways, is about the fact that like that might be a reaction to how dominant society constructs like femme identity as like the popular discourse on lesbians, you know, like to be a lesbian in a heterosexual, you know, society is to be either like so butch that you could be considered a man, or to be a femme with another femme, i.e. the L word, lesbian porn, things like that, you know, where femmes are assumed to be like an acceptable alternative to more masculine like lesbian identification categories like on TV or in pornography. And like there's social stigma that like comes with femmes who fuck other femmes, you know, like assumed that like you're there for show, you know, you're there to impress men, you know, like I feel like that's something that's always stopped me from like showing attraction in other femmes, which makes me really sad because I think femmes are super hot and super great, you know, but like, and it's interesting that like so many femmes think femmes are super hot and super great but never get around to fucking them, you know? And I think like there's been so many times on this campus where I'm like, I'm not getting laid because I'm femme. I know that that's the reason. I know that if I was anything else, I would have some sex right now. But like because I am a femme, like there are just less people who are consistently interested on that level, which really hurts and does take a toll on, which is I think that the thing that makes me most constantly question my gender. It's like, yeah.